This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
When I say this, I'm thinking you're going to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm just going to say it anyway, that we live in a semi-crazy, fast-paced, stressful world. There's so much going on. We have so many distractions. We got a lot going on between families, multiple jobs, commitments, and all of that, where you get to a point and you don't even realize that you're stressed out because the body's amazing. It's just, it adapts. So it's like, all right, let's keep going in that mode of stress. Well, what do you do about that? I'm going to talk with somebody today that has a practice that helps adults, children, families find calm, connection, peace, emotional strength. And that's through many different modalities. She's so good at what she does. She actually trains therapists on how to do a lot of this as well. And she's also a licensed clinical social worker and so much more. Karan Turnquist is back with us. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I am well. And this is coming to my mind because I got a text from somebody I'm close to who has a lot going on in their life right now, family, work, and all of that. Literally just 20 minutes ago, I got a text. And they said that they had a commitment today to meet up with a family member for breakfast, and they canceled. They're going to get together later. That family member's visiting, and they said, "I feel so much better. Like it's just like a release." But that's just one little piece. There's more going on there. If somebody were to come before you with a similar story of just living with all of these demands and not feeling peace and calm, sometimes she can't even sleep. She wakes up with a nightmare.
Yeah.
What would you say to them, and how could you support them?
Yeah. I think that sometimes when we explore, like what you're talking about is a hypothetical story, it's funny. It resonates within us, doesn't it? And it resonated within you. And people notice parts that feel familiar. And I want to put this out there because our nervous systems are always coalescing, especially with friends, family, but even with a stranger. So that's something that's happening right now as we talk about this. And I'm curious, are there any aspects of your friend's experience that resonate with you or people you know? And what would it be as we enhance this conversation?
So give me more reference point. Are you saying that who do I know that deals with the same thing? Have I dealt with it?
Like kind of close your eyes for a minute and notice her story. And where does it resonate within you?
That's a really great question.
First thing,
what pops up? Been there, done that.
Totally, right?
Yes, totally.
So do you feel comfortable sharing your example, and then we can look at her example because it's so human, right?
Through these different modalities that you practice, I've worked on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Even breath work. And I'm very transparent. So I'm going to say, I even suggested to her, try some deep breathing today, even if it's for a minute, 4 seconds in, deep breathe, wait 8 seconds to let it out. Even just breathing can help reset you for a little bit. But what I've found in my journey here is when things pop up and they trigger you or they freak you out. I had a little something this morning like, oh really? It's gone in a minute or 5, very short period of time, whereby before that, it would marinate on my mind. Oh boy, I got to deal with this. Oh, well, I wonder how that's going to go. And it's just it's almost like, hit the pause button and stop, maybe rewind. But that's great. I've been there. I get it. I was diagnosed with an ulcer in 2016 because of stress. I let it get to me. And I'm trying not to let that happen again.
No, thank you. And what I just did with you is an example of how I start with someone, keeping it really person centered. Because a lot of times we have solutions in us that we've already done or tried. And I'm not I'm not someone who's going to say, oh, do this, do that. Because everyone's nervous system is different, because of how our nervous system reacts, what it's triggered by, what you just described about waves, for example. Like, I know it'll pass. Everything does pass, which is a wonderful thing, right? Because we know the law of impermanence, not everything will change, and this too shall pass, whether you go biblical or non-biblical. But that's true with the nervous system and chemicals too. And with your friend, it sounds like what stands out for me is she's like, oh, I felt relieved. But then, I wonder after I felt relieved, what did she feel right after that? Would be so interesting if we could ask her.
I sent that text a little while ago. You even read the breathing thing.
But I mean, the relief could lead to feeling, oh, I feel bad. I shouldn't feel relieved about that, not meeting with that person, right? But the relief makes so much sense, because when something opens up on our schedule and we get a moment, right? Like, that's kind of nice, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of folks, I think, swing around and they might feel bad about that. What do I fill this time with? Or I'm going to rush off. And so if we're talking about stress in particular, it's important to sit down and look at, well, what is bothering me in my day? Is
it real? Is the magic here truly getting in touch with yourself and feeling and realizing, as opposed to just being in that tornado swirling around where you just can't even process? Like, just be like you said, something opened up on the schedule. It's like, oh, all right, yeah, I tapped the brakes. I got a moment. Yeah, now I can like process what's going on, as opposed to, well, let me just step out and get back into that tornado, and then you're all over the place. Is it really just being in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us have to it's hard too, right? Because I don't know, like, you're working right now. I'm working right now. We got up a certain time of day. We had our to-do list, but how are we interacting with our life and environment? How are we thinking about it? Are we slowing down at all? I know it goes back, actually, it's funny. Like, it goes back to when I was working with a wedding planner for me. She had really great advice on this that actually really lines up with mindfulness. She said, with any big event, how do you want the day to end? And then back it up from there. And I always think about that, because I want my day, I want to live a full life every day as a goal, a rich, full life. So how do I want my day to end? And then how am I going to, and then I back it up. How am I going to start my day? And that really makes or breaks how my day goes. For example, when I wake up at 5 a.m. and I spend 5 to 6 a.m. meditating, and sometimes that meditation might look like sitting practice. It might look like laying down practice. It might be curling up and listening to a book. But when I start my day like that, and then I move into my movement, which starts mindfully with stretching, moving into my, cardio and strength. And then I start my day like that. It ends the way I want it to, where I'm able to kind of sink in, come home, turn it off, go to bed, and, and just kind of have a nice, in the middle of the day seems to structure better too, because the key is that I'm not striving. I'm kind of mindfully moving through my day and trying to keep that in mind. And I said a lot right now, but there's a lot to this and how we're thinking about it.
I truly love what you said there in terms of how do you want your day to end? We're so fixated on progressing the day. Like, that was super cool. Like, and it's so funny. I have a gratitude journal that I write in every day, and I bought it. It's $9 on Amazon. It's a knockoff from a more expensive one. Yeah, you don't need that.
Absolutely not. He's a flavor.
And I got it. I actually looked it up because I was going to buy it for some friends today. I'm not even kidding. And I bought it in September of 24, and it's still lasting me every single day. Cool. It's got 3 fields what are you grateful for today? Then it has what would make today great.
Yep.
And it also has your I am statement. If you, so choose, you want to fill that in. So, what would make today great? I listed some things there. But it's interesting to take a look at how do you want your day to end? We don't even think of it that way. We're building our day, but let's look at the end result. And even in manifestation, if you believe in that, it's more of, what do you want? What's your desire? What do you deserve? Don't worry about how you're going to get to it, but picture what it's going to be in the end. And of course, visualize that it's already here.
Yeah,
that's manifestation. But I like how you almost sucked me in, asking me how I relate to my friend's situation. I didn't even know you were doing that. So it kind of made me think.
It resonates, right? And there's a reason why, like, if somebody comes in and says, a lot of people might do a hypothetical, or they're connected to someone and they're reacting to it. Our nervous systems do react to each other. It's an energy thing, whether you believe in biology only or say get into holistic discussions. And then if you look at stress, it is connected to like how you feel in a room full of like commotion versus when you walk into a room that's more peaceful, because our energy in our body will react to that, and that matters too.
What's the difference between, and we're talking about finding calm in your day, what's the difference between calm and peace, or are they the same?
That's a good question. I don't know let me think about that for a minute. Honestly, I think they're very similar. I think that we can have inner states or calmness, but when you think of the term, like anytime, right? Like right now, I feel calm. Hopefully you do too. You seem to feel calm. I could be wrong. Our inner states are often masked, right? But when you think of that capital P, peace, it's kind of important to think about the broader macro version of that, where I could be in the midst of chaos, but my heart is still calm. And that's how I see peace versus a state of just calm.
So something just came up for me on that. Calm could be the current situation. Like, I'm calm in this situation, where I think about peace more of a ongoing thing, that it's attainable again. It's a calm. You might have a crazy day and you got to find some calm in that crazy day. But when you find peace, you just have this faith. And that can be, whatever you want to connect the faith to, faith in yourself, that absolutely, I'm going to be all right. We're going to, peace is coming back to me at some point, that knowing. Yes.
Yeah. Or I can cultivate a state of peace and maintain that calm, knowing I can face this. Yeah. Knowing it will pass, like you said earlier, because then there's an overall peace and we can interact with that event differently. And usually then the end result will be much better. Like, how do we want this to end? Whatever it is, right? Even our day or a situation or best possible result, or list a couple of results maybe that we'd be okay with.
I often wonder too, how do you find this thing called peace? And I believe what brought it to me was resilience. After going through different things, personal, health, all of that, I would look back and I'm like, oh, you pulled that one off. Oh, you pulled that one off. Next one presents. I'm going to have that one too. We'll get through that. That's where I find my peace. I don't know if that's normal or that's other people, but that's where I'm seeing it.
Absolutely. It goes back to when I started the conversation, when you say like, okay, well, what did you resonate with? And what are things or the next question would be from that is, hey, what's a time in the past that, I don't know, something like this happened? And hey, what happened? Because you're building a track record. Like, oh, wait a minute. Like a year ago, 6 months ago, I had to have a crazy day or a week. And wait, I did X, Y, Z to get through it. And And then you're building that track record because then you're feeling confident that, oh, I can do this again.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What word is coming up for me now is evidence. And it's my understanding that the subconscious is always looking for evidence. So let's say your subconscious from your childhood believes that you're not worthy or you're not good enough. So as life goes on through childhood to start there's evidence right there you're not good enough, or you bullied on the playground. You're not cool, not good enough. There's another situation. You heard a conversation. It wasn't for you. You passed by the kitchen. Mom and dad were talking. Subconscious, not good enough. Now you get into adulthood, and it's always looking to back that up. But on the flip side of that, what I'm saying is with the resilience, and you sparked this in my mind, that I'm looking for evidence how pulled that one off, overcame that. That's evidence in a different way to not hold you back, but move you forward, find resilience, find peace, that kind of thing. I never thought of that until you just said that.
No, what you're talking about is nervous system wiring, right? So we all have our own set of wiring. And when we're born, kids, like everyone is with a temperament. And we have our own attachment styles or whatnot, right? So we have our own set of wiring attached to that.
Sure.
So we all been through trauma. I mean, everyone has a list. So whatever we've been through gets paired, procedurally paired, which means people, places, things, objects, colors, or there's other memory pairings with the nervous system. And that unfortunately can get paired like, oh, I must not be good enough because of, when that's emotional reasoning, but it got paired. And so our wiring is set up believing this horrible thing that makes us feel really bad. But then when we cultivate life and say we're doing mindfulness practices to manage stress, maybe we're trying to cultivate more peace in our life. And then maybe we're doing trauma work with a therapist and we're working on things ourselves. It actually slowly rewires the nervous system with the new evidence as we dispel the old evidence and unpair it. And that's what helps over time. So people can then believe the new thought of, I am enough. I did the best that I could, and then believe it because we've unpaired the old stuff. It's very hard, right? I mean, because a lot of us are running around like, oh, I didn't do enough. I must not be enough as a compromise.
Yeah. And these are the things will foster that feeling of not being calm because, okay, so question on that. The feeling of not feeling calm, is that because we don't feel safe?
Commonly. Or learning. Well, it's complicated, right? There's a lot of reasons for that, but safety could be one of them. Or what if, so if I grew up a certain way, and even as a young adult or any age, and I never had a safe environment, maybe it was not safe relationally, right? Maybe people around me were overly critical, mean, abusive in any way, emotionally, physically, whatever. Or maybe I had a really complicated dynamic in my family. And even if it was straight up emotional complication, what if I had to learn that I had to overfunction to get attention and be seen as a valuable person? Overfunctioning, like safety, combination, it can lead to these things.
So somebody comes before you, they're going through some challenges, even my friend.
Yep.
I'm going to tell her she got to talk to you. What would you suggest, and how do you decide what modality? And you have many different ones. I like to refer to it as like the tool chest. We'll reach up there like this one, or I got EMDR, whatever it might be. How do you decide what to use for somebody?
I do a really good assessment. It takes me 3 to 5 sessions, and I do a really honed assessment. So I want to know a lot of information, the basics, like what's your life like now? What are your goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 1 year, 2 years? How is your life going now? But then looking at the past, really good trauma assessment. And then I formulate based on also what they want to do, right? So if somebody says, oh no, not that trauma work, like I actually got an example. I have a kid I work with. She's so cool. And I had her for a long time. A trauma therapist actually messed up her case and did EMDR in a way that wasn't on protocol. And she got kind of messed up emotionally. And then she's like, oh yeah, no, Karen, I'll never do that again. When she came to me. But it took us time. But I had to honor her system. I couldn't force that, but that's what would have been helpful. And EMDR starts at hello. You don't jump in with memory work. I mean, you do a lot of stuff that leads up to that. But so you have to go with where a person's willing to too, right? Even with your thoughts. But now in this case, it's a great example of somebody who said, whoa, never again, because that was horrible. But guess what? We just had two. I'm doing full day intensives with her now. We've had two, and we worked through her 0 to 10 trauma. She's feeling better, but it took us a few years to get there. So what I do is I really work with a person on what they want to do now, what they are like, where they're at. And then you use the modality to get them where hopefully it lines up with your recommendation. But if it doesn't, hopefully someday they will. But you get as much done as you can. And then you always tell people what you think, and you do it in a way that will work with their nervous system and their person. And that's why I train so much, because I want to be able to pull things and really work with someone's nervous system, not take one method and fit it all in. Yeah.
You have this way of being very approachable and making people feel comfortable, like you did in the beginning today. Like I was like, yeah, I want to share this with you. I want to share this with you. And I didn't even know that you were using a therapy technique, which is beautiful. Like just,
kind of my nervous system, I think. That's what people do tell me that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether it's your style, your voice, but it's super cool. Like nobody's on guard. I don't feel like anybody would be in working with you. And again, you have so many different modalities under your belt that you've learned, you've worked with, and then you train with. What's the starting point? If somebody's going through some challenges, how would they reach out to you?
If you go to my website, mindfulstatetherapyservices.com, all my contact information is in there, and all my phone numbers and everything. And then they can reach out to, any questions or email me through there. Karan Turnquist at stresslesstherapyservices.org. No, stresslessbu.org. Sorry. They wouldn't let me keep my name. And then I had my .org already set up. So Karan Turnquist at stresslessbu.org is my email. Yeah. But
certainly mindfulstatetherapyservices.com can get it done too.
It's a great way to go. Yep.
Yeah. Final thoughts in 20 seconds. Somebody's going through some challenges. Like my friend, stressed out, not feeling calm, always on the go, rushing. What do you want them to know?
I think that a lot of people run around and this is their normal, right? So if they ever have a moment where they're like, whoa, I don't like this, sit down and think about that for a minute. Like, what is bothering me? Where do I feel it in my body? What do I wish for? And that kind of will get someone started on a note on maybe I want something to go different. Because a lot of people aren't in therapy to be able to bounce this off of someone, but it'll get you a starting point on what you might wish would switch.
This is the stuff we don't normally ask ourselves,
I know.
At all. Oh, because we're in the tornado. Yeah. Karan, thank you so much for today. A lot of insight. Love what you do, and looking forward next time we get a chance to talk.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.